It's official. Jurassic World Alive 1.6 will be coming out on Monday. I honestly didn't know exactly when it was going to be coming out. I just kind of guessed that since the tournament season was ending on Monday, that it just kind of made sense that when they did one update, they would just do both updates or just flat out make it a bigger update. Very exciting stuff to cover. Definitely want to go over just kind of the broad strokes of this update. I know MetaHub has done their initial thoughts, so if you want to check that out, I'll put a link in the description below as to what they think. I'm sure that Posivon will do some kind of a video on what his thoughts are for this update. Like I said, I'm just going to kind of do the broad strokes. I'm told by Ludia that I will get an opportunity to run an official beta over the weekend. I don't know for how long, but I am told that I will get to run the final beta. The beta that I tried before had some features that aren't going to be available in 1.6. That's why I don't have anything saved up for that. But fingers crossed that the beta does come through this weekend, and I will get some coverage for you guys so that when this drops, you guys will know exactly what you're looking at, and you can start making some tough decisions on where you're going to allocate your DNA, because there were some buffs, there were some nerfs, and there are new dinosaurs. So a lot to keep in mind here. I'm just finishing out the strike tower, then I'm gonna go sit down and take a good hard look at the patch notes. I'm gonna kind of go over them with you guys. Hopefully this wind will stop blowing. I'm trying to turn my camera so that you're not picking up the wind. I don't know if it works or not. But let me know, what are your initial thoughts? Are you guys excited for this update? It doesn't seem to be like a huge update, but it's an impactful update, if that makes sense. When I first looked at this, the patch notes, I got them yesterday and was kind of skimming through them, skimming through them. And my initial thoughts were, you know, not a lot got buffed and not a lot got nerfed, which I think is actually a good sign. That means that they feel like the stats where they are now are competitive, are balanced. And I tend to agree with that. There's a lot of variety. Even where I'm at, up in, you know, I flex between like 4,500 and 4,800. I'm pretty much somewhere in that range at all times. Very rarely do I get above 4,800, and very rarely do I drop below 4,500. Should be actually a pretty decent little incubator here. Probably some Notopatosaurus, I would imagine, for my epic. Parasaurolophus. Okay. Edmontosaurus, getting a hybrid. We already knew about that. Brachiosaurus, okay. Very good. All right, so like I said, let me go somewhere where I can sit down. I'm not having to hold my camera this whole time, and we'll talk about Jurassic World Alive version 1.6, the patch notes. If you would like to read the patch notes for yourself and you haven't had a chance to see them already, I will put a link in the description below, along with the link to the MetaHub write-up on their first thoughts on 1.6. But definitely take the time to formulate your own opinion, read over the information, and don't just go off of what I say or what MetaHub says. Come up with your own ideas. See if you agree or disagree with either one of us or both of us. The first thing that we have, okay, I'm gonna let you in on something that I did not know until just now. What I'm trying to do is I was actually trying to look at the patch notes on Ludia's website. Definitely go to the patch notes, because when I went there, as you saw on my screen, I got 30 bucks. That's crazy. Now, here's the deal. What happened was, is I went to the link and I went to the forum for Ludia, and then I clicked on, wait, it's a daily reward? Interesting. But you must use a mobile device. Okay, so I have no idea what this is. I'm completely perplexed. And again, I'm probably the last one to know this. But here with the update, if you go down to the bottom, it says improvement and bug fixes. You'll see this little paragraph. Now that you're ready for 1.6 update, let us know what you think. In the replies and collect your daily reward, must use mobile device. Click that link. That's how I got the 30 bucks. I will take it. You get your 30 bucks as well. Now I have to find the announcement here. The first thing that I'm going to talk about are alliance missions. finally, alliances are going to mean more than just passing along DNA. The alliance missions appear under the alliance tab in the Dino Protection Group, is that what it is? Menu. Accessible via the DPG button on the top right hand corner of your screen. There are 2 mission specializations your alliance can focus on, with 10 total missions available at one time. Exploration missions focus your alliance on DNA and resource collection goals. Defense missions focus your alliance on battle goals. Each time your alliance completes a mission, every alliance member can collect the mission reward. Join an alliance. If you're not already in an alliance, join one. I have a handful of spots that are now open in my alliance. I don't know how I'm going to fill those out yet. So give me through the weekend. I'll figure something out, but for now, I don't know. Completed missions show the player ID of their top contributor. Complete all 5 missions in either of the specialization categories to increase your weekly rank and improve the incubator reward each alliance member can collect at the end of the week. Your rank will be reset each week, and you'll have the opportunity to complete new missions and collect rewards again. Remember to use your alliance chat. The alliance chat is not great. It could use a rebuff, a revamp. Make sure you're in an alliance that is active. If you're not, make sure you find one that is. MetaHub would probably be the best place to go to try to find that. Here's something that is great. Increased interaction range on the map. For me, I'm in Southern California. Like, I don't really have bad weather. I get some rain every now and then. But in the Midwest, it was like -50, -60 degrees, something ridiculous. And you're not going outside to hunt dinos in that weather. Well, now, you don't have to be right up next to the supply drops in order to spin them. The trade-off is you're going to get less rewards if you're further away, if that makes sense. So just for example, I'm not saying this is real, but just for example, if you're sitting on top of a supply drop and it was going to give you 100 coin, if you're with VIP, if you're like 195 meters away, you'll probably only get like 10 or 15 coin. And I don't know those numbers to be exact, but you can still spin it from a distance, which is a great improvement. It's really nice. Supply drops, treasure chests, special event supply drops, and strike boxes can now be opened from up to 150. If you have VIP, it's 200. So basically, anywhere that your radar is, that is how far you're going to be able to collect rewards. And I know it's going to be great for a lot of people who have supply drops just outside of the range. Migration and world balancing. Don't expect this to be a massive migration. They've got new dinos that they're introducing into the game. Keep that in mind. There'll probably be a handful of more balancing tweaks to the local zones, so keep that in mind. But I do not expect a massive update here as far as that goes. What you have in your local zone, probably count on still being in your local zone. Strike events, updated look. Strike towers now have a different visual design to better communicate their difficulty to reward and reward to DPG members, viewing them at a distance. Guys, this is going to be great. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this or not, but here's the deal. If it's a scent strike, the supply drop looks like a scent capsule on the map. And remember how a few videos ago I said, wow, these new incubators look really good? Wink, wink. Yeah, the strike towers are going to look like those incubators. So those are getting a redesign as well. I hope I was allowed to say that. They look really good, trust me on this. And it's a lot easier to just scan over your phone or your iPad or whatever you're using and notice exactly what it is off in the distance instead of having to tap on it to see, is this a scent strike or just a common strike tower? Very good. Now we do have some new moves. Swap in nullification. Nullify the opponent's positive effects. You're bound for 1 turn. That's going to be good on dinosaurs like Indoraptor, where you can swap in and get rid of the evasive stance. Monomimus, evasive stance. And some of the newer dinosaurs, at least one of the newer dinosaurs, has evasive stance, so this is going to be good for that. Instant Rampage, a priority move that does 2 times damage with a cooldown of 2. You're going to have Regenerate and Run, a priority cleanse self, heal 50% HP, swap to next creature, a delay of 1 and a cooldown of 2. I don't really know why you'd need the cooldown if you're going to swap out into the next creature, but let me just tell you guys a little secret here. I'm pretty sure I'm not allowed to say this, but I'm going to say it anyways, and if I wasn't allowed to, I apologize. Dracorex Gen 2, in the very first version of the beta that I tested, had this move. I was like, oh my god, the fans and the players of this game are going to riot and revolt if that is the case. Think about it. You do swap in attack for 2 times damage, nothing can stop you, nothing can slow it down. It hits through armor, hits through shields for 2 times damage and you don't see it coming. Then you're bound for 1, except for you could regenerate and run, so you clean out your bound and jump out of there. It was it was dirty. We have acute stun, which is going to stun 100%. Cooldown of 2. Decelerating strike, a 1 times attack. The target speed is reduced 50% for 1 turn. It sounds like what Monostego has currently, except for this time it's only good for 1 turn and not 2 turns. Lethal swoop. Damage over time, 33% of target's max HP per turn for 3 turns, an automatic swap. That's crazy. They are really forcing people to start using swapping dinosaurs. Or you're just gonna get bled to death. I mean, it's gonna happen, so. Cleanse and swoop. Cleanse self, damage over time for 25% of target's max HP per turn for 2 turns, automatic swap with a cooldown of 2. Oh my gosh, that's nuts. Honestly, I don't even know which dinos have all these new moves yet, but that move right there is the lethal swoop and the cleanse and swoop. Bleeding is going to be a thing. Find an immune dinosaur you like and use it. That is my best advice to you so far. Alright, so now we have some ability updates. Distracting Rampage, the delay is now 1. Swap in Shattering Rampage, bound is now for 2 turns. So swap in Shattering Rampage, Dracorex Gen 2, it swaps in, now it's bound for 2 turns instead of just the 1 turn. Nullifying Impact, cooldown becomes 1. That was hinted at in the text for Monostego. Ready to Crush, updated the data to have this ability work for 3 active turns. Whereas before you do Ready to Crush and it said 3 turns, but the Ready to Crush turn was 1 of your turns. Now it's actually 4 turns, counting the turn that you use Ready to Crush. My only real issue with this, and the reason why I don't think it matters, is because as far as I know, any dinosaur that uses Ready to Crush is going to be knocked out in 2 turns. So like the chances of you being around for 3 turns are pretty slim, but okay. Slowing Impact cooldown becomes 2, and then a change again to Superiority Strike. The ability's speed reduction goes from 33% to 50%, reaching the same efficiency level as similar abilities, Decelerating Impact, Slowing Impact, and Thagomizer. I'll have to see how this plays out. There's a lot of dinos that have Superiority Strike, and 33% seemed to be okay. They decided to go ahead and make it 50%, so now it's equal with Thagomizer. Swap in Slow, the speed reduction is for 2 turns. Alright, so there we have the updates to abilities that we currently have, and now you know the new abilities that are coming to the game. Let's talk about some new creatures. The first new dinosaur, Scolosaurus. This common Ankylosauride is a balanced tank. It has less health than the typical Ankylosaur. In exchange, it has decent armor and access to swap in defense and a Rampage special ability. Its basic attack is Vulnerability Strike. This creature's usage is pretty straightforward. Make the opponent creature vulnerable, then smack it with 2 times 1.5, so 3 times damage is what it is. It's a common dinosaur. I imagine it'll be at least decent. I wouldn't be expecting the world out of this. So is this Scaphognathus? Scaphognathus? As a rare tiny pterosaur, this speedy but low health you guys are just here to see me butcher names, right? This, I don't know. It has access to great mobility thanks to its swap in wound and swoop. Regeneration lets you stay alive while your damage over time does its work. You can also free yourself from any pesking pinning effects that would prevent you from swooping away. Hint, use Pinning Strike to let the opponent take more damage over time in order to set up your swoop. So basically, you're gonna pin them, and then you're gonna swoop away, leaving behind a bleed. The Miyasura, famously discovered by paleontologist Jack Horner, this Miyasura makes an appearance in Jurassic World Alive. The epic, resilient hadrosaur has great mobility thanks to swap in stun and impact and run. It stays ahead of the speed race with a superiority strike. Facing a slower creature with instant abilities, you're slowed down by the opponent. The Miyasura can get around these problems thanks to instant rampage. Basically, you can slow them down to make sure you go first, or you can just use a priority move of instant rampage. And it said it's an epic, so keep that in mind. As somebody so comically pointed out on Twitter, we have Patchy, and it is Pachycephalosaurus, I believe is how you say it, but for the rest of my life, I'm gonna call it Patchy. The resilient epic thick-skulled lizard from Wyoming dives headfirst into the fray. The stubborn Patchy can withstand punishment thanks to its ever-available shielding strike. It has great mobility thanks to swap and stun and rampage and run. It relies on its deceleration impact to keep up the speed advantage after coming in with a stunning entrance. So stun the dinosaur and then you drop some damage and then get out of there. And then of course we know the hybrids now. Thankfully we actually know their moves and their names. This Darwezoptrix, the OP, I think they're hinting at something here. The Optrix creature joins forces together. Darwinopterus and Hats are merged into a fierce long-term goal. Easily accessible ingredient. Legendary hybrid with a higher than average speed and HP. Darwinoptrix has mobility, swoop in wound, defense, instant invincibility, and offense in the form of defense shattering impact. It can gain the upper hand in speed race and remove a distraction penalty thanks to superiority strike. Now that is what you're going to need, is going to be Hats and Darwinopterus, and then you're going to need this to be level 20 in order, I'm going to skip ahead here, to create Stygideryx. This fierce, unique super hybrid combines the DNA of Stygimoloch Gen 2 and Darwezoptrix. With balanced attributes, highly mobile Stygideryx boasts a high speed that rivals the Indoraptors, so probably 128. Withstand the opposition thanks to your swap-in invincibility and instant invincibility. Remain mobile and overwhelm your opponent's health over time thanks to lethal swoop. Did you just withstand your opponent's attack? Thanks to a well-timed swap-in invincibility, you're now bound for 2 turns. Well, you can get out of this sticky situation on the first turn by using Cleanse and Swoop. Last but not least, using Superiority Strike lets Stygideryx gain the speed advantage for 1 crucial turn, potentially setting up a daring exit using one of the swoops. It's going to be a beast. It just sounds like a lot is going on, and it sounds like it's going to be a beast. That one, honestly, is probably going to be the easier of the 2 Darwinoptrix uniques to make, just because you don't have to be at level 20, and then you don't have to get Monomimus up to level 20 as well. It may not be easier, but my first thought is that's probably going to be the easier one of the 2. Edmontoguanodon. What's better than an Iguanodon? One fused with more Hadrosaur DNA. This resilient epic hybrid has the damage, HP, and speed that you're used to with Hadrosaurs. As usual, Superiority Strike lets you stay ahead of the speed race. Edmontoguanodon combines stuns, swap and stun, greater stunning rampage, with nullification impact. Edmontoguanodon can use its priority regenerate and run in order to cleanse and heal up to half of its healthy health pool before swapping to the next creature. As you can see, they are going to make you start running swap-in creatures. You're either going to be swapping in or swapping out, but nothing is going to be staying on the board for very long. A lot of the OG dinosaurs are going to start getting outclassed because of all the bleed that's available. They're just going to be left as sitting ducks, and then when you swap them out, you're going to lose a turn. Whereas if you build up your team with swap-in attack dinosaurs, you don't necessarily lose that turn anymore. And then this Pterovexus. Vex your opponents with this fierce, unique pterosaur super hybrid. Monomimus DNA fused with that of Darwinopterus creates an immune and mobile pterosaur thanks to swap in wound and swoop. This balanced pterosaur has accurate offense thanks to nullifying impact, as well as survivability thanks to its distracting impact. It completes its ability set with an always available pinning strike in order to set up some guaranteed damage over time turns. What was the counter for having swap in attacks is you pin your opponent. Now they've got dinosaurs that swap in but then pin you back as well. Some of them even have regenerate to get rid of the pins, so there you go. There's a lot here, right? This is getting to be a long video. I'm just gonna cover, there's some rebalancing that I want to touch on, some bug fixes. We'll go into that at a later date. I will tell you that I did put in my feedback about dinosaurs spawning in the cups, and they haven't fixed it yet. They've said that something they did in a tweak about the way that dinosaurs spawn should help alleviate it, but as of right now, the towers don't go away. And I was told that that was because of the team, the alliance team aspect of things. Not really sure exactly what that means, but I know that's a big complaint that people have had, and that they're working on it, it just hasn't been done yet. I will go into the rebalancing of creatures in more detail later. There's not a lot, but there's a lot to go over for one video. Of note, Uterinax changes Distracting Rampage to Distracting Impact, so it's going to lose some of its turn 1 power, but the attack is increased to 1550. So it's a nerf on the moves, but a buff on the damage, if that makes sense. Utasinaraptor, the basic attack becomes Decelerating Strike. Everybody was worried about Dracorex Gen 2. The damage was reduced a little bit. It's down to 1110, and it is going to be bound for 2 instead of just 1 now. But then Dracoceratops is going to become, remember I did a video a while back about how the parts were greater than the whole when it came to Dracoceratops. That's not going to be the case anymore. Dracoceratops is going to be a madman. Nullification hybrids, quickly. Here we go. The Proceratomimus. The battle-exclusive Proceratosaurus is mixed with Ornithormimus DNA in order to create a cunning epic hybrid. Its high damage and extreme speed combination still manages to maintain a decent health pool. The new swap in nullification lets you remove the opponent's positive effects and those pesky cloaks. On the turn, Proceratomimus comes in. Do it on demand thanks to the always available nullifying strike. Get a chance to avoid the burnt, I don't know what that means, of the offense, the brunt. Oh. Get a chance to avoid the brunt of the offense thanks to evasive stance. To top it off, Proceratomimus has access to Distracting Rampage and Instant Distraction. What you want to take away from this is, say you're going up against Indoraptor, you can swap in, get rid of the evasive stance. Okay, fair enough. Then you can, if you can survive, then you can go back-to-back distraction so that they're doing 0 damage to you. Combination, you can reduce the opponent's damage to 0 or 10% if they're under a ferocity effect for 1 crucial turn. Last but not least, Proceratomimus is immune to any negative effects. I liked Proceratomimus in the beta. It is only an epic, which I think is going to limit how good it can be, plus the fact that Proceratosaurus is only available in Battle Arena awards. But I think it's a good dinosaur, and I think a lot of people get a lot of use out of this. And then we have Skulosaurus. The smiley face Skulosuchus teams up with Skolosaurus to create a legendary hybrid. As a nullification-centric creature, it always has access to nullifying strike, tops off the ability with a swap-in nullification, rampage, slowing impact for long protection, bulky, so think a lot of HP. Skulosaurus retains some of its Scololosaurus parent's armor while having a higher speed. There you go. Thanks to its Kulosuchus ancestry. So there's a lot of more names there for me to butcher, but I think I've hit on all the broad strokes. And like I've said, hopefully I am able to get my hands on the beta that I'm able to show this week. Here's what I'm thinking. And I'm thinking right now, I'm thinking this in my head as I'm saying it, but Monday I may do a live stream and just go over the update. No promises, don't hold me to it, but make sure you're following me on Twitter, and if you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit subscribe, turn on the alerts as well, because if I am able to go live, I definitely will. And then I think a lot of people will be able to get real-time information as it drops. So lots of good things happening. Let me know, what do you guys think? This has been a really long video, a lot of talking, not a lot of action, but very worthwhile video as well. Let me know what your thoughts are. Which of the new dinosaurs are you most looking forward to? And which of the updated dinosaurs, like the buffs or the nerfs, are you most excited and most disappointed about? Monomimus got slowed down. Thank you. That dinosaur cannot get out of this game fast enough. So anyways, those are my personal thoughts. That's all I've got for today. I know it's a long one. I apologize. I hope you guys are excited. I know I'm excited. And until next time.